Registered representatives offer securities through Securities America, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Financial advisors offer advisory services through Securities America Advisors, Inc. Forest Hills Financial, Inc. and Securities America are separate entities. This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steindler.
Good morning. Welcome to Keeping Your Money Show. I'm Jamie Westenbarger, joined as always by my esteemed colleague, Mr. Bart Steindler. Bart, how you doing this weekend?
I'm doing great. It's another $1 million morning.
Indeed it is. This is the Keeping Your Money Show, where we cut through all the bulls, the booyahs, the bells, whistles, honks, and horns to get you to the information that actually helps you move towards retirement. If you're not able to catch all the show, or maybe you hear a part of it you want to hear again, you can always find it on our website. Just go to keepingyourmoney.com. You can also find it on all of our podcast partners, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. We've got a great show on deck today. We're going to talk about crushing credit card debt, how over $100 billion paid in interest, and are you doing things to get rid of yours and make sure it's taken care of if something were to happen to you? The FBI is warning of a huge bank heist that could be coming any day now. What you should be doing to make sure you're protecting yourself. 1 in 8 divorces now caused by student loan debt. We're going to discuss some things that you should be doing to protect yourself, if that potentially could be you in the future. And then 2 surprising ways the new alimony tax rule is going to affect you and your retirement, should you either be in the process of, already divorced, or maybe going to be divorced at some point in time, which we hope none of you are, but it is a reality of life. And something that flew under the radar with the tax cuts was a new change in how alimony is actually taxed. We'll talk about that and more. If you want to touch base with us at any time, of course, you can always call. The phone number is 888-98-MONEY. That's 888-986-6639, or shoot us the email info@keepingyourmoney.com. Bart, I want to thank everybody that came out last week to the educational events that we did.
The town halls that we did.
Had a phenomenal turnout over there at Western Michigan University, and I think we covered a lot of ground. Seemed like there was a lot of people getting some questions answered that maybe they didn't have the answers for before. Maybe they had conflicting answers. I think a lot of what we heard was, if I go online, I find 3 different answers to this, so maybe we were able to kind of straighten that out for people. We'll be doing those again probably next month, so stay tuned to hear more information on that if you're interested in coming to a financial educational town hall where, you can get your question answered in a low
key.
Yeah, low key sort of way. So I know you've got some people you want to say hello to, Bart.
That's right. A lot going on for me this weekend. And first of all, I'm going to be attending the 45th class reunion for my high school from North Muskegon. And I wanted to send a special thank you to Sue Kane Hayden, Lynn Williams Horn, and Phyllis Miller for putting that together and doing all the work for planning it. Really, really do appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing Terry Mish, who's coming in from Connecticut. He's a accomplished horticulturist and punster, and he's quite a combination. He's actually famous for the phrase, "If it weren't for horticulture, I would have no culture at all." Looking forward to seeing Ron Jansen, Florida's leader of the Laundromat, his twin sister Barb, whose husband Tom is a frequent listener to the Keeping Your Money show, and Fred Walter, a former croquet champion.
There's such a thing as a croquet champion?
There is.
All right.
Good
to know. I won't invite that guy to a picnic.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
There's some cool stuff going on downtown, too, this weekend, right?
There is. The Jazz Festival is downtown Grand Rapids on the 18th and the 19th. That's Saturday and Sunday. And there's going to be 10 performers over 2 days, and it's absolutely free. Now, I'm sure they'll probably be passing a bucket for donations and things like that, and it'd be nice to help them out. But a lot of times, people are talking about, well, how can I save money? Where do I want to, cut down on my expenses? And you're buying tickets to see a main big name performer, and it's over $100 a ticket. Here you can go see 10 performers over 2 days. Doesn't cost you anything at all. Another thing that is gaining popularity around the country is called the Makers Fair, and that's going to be Saturday and Sunday at the Grand Rapids Museum downtown. That's the one with the planetarium and stuff. And they kind of bill this as a big show and tell. And here again, a lot of our listeners are kind of getting ready for retirement, and they're trying to think what they're going to do in retirement. People who make things, all sorts of things. It could be robotics, it could be beer, it could be food, it could be, I saw a guy there last year that had a motorcycle that ran on a battery, and another guy who built a submarine, a one-man submarine.
Which I want, by the way.
Okay, well, I think he's going to be there again this weekend. So that's at the Makers Faire. Tickets are inexpensive for that. I think they were like $12 adults, maybe $7 for kids. And if you're a member of the museum, you get in for even less than that. So
cool.
Another neat thing to check out this weekend.
Sounds fun. All right, so let's talk about Forbes put out an article here the other day that kind of blew my mind. I mean, I guess I wasn't that surprised, but for the 12-month period ending March 31st of 2018, Americans paid over $100 billion in credit card interest and fees, 104 to be specific, $104 billion. And that was based on the $1 trillion of credit card debt that's out there. Now, we joke around a little bit that we're not necessarily Dave Ramsey's biggest fans, but I think he's got a point when he says, hey, debt might be getting a little out of control in this country. I mean, $1 trillion of credit card debt, and if you just do the simple math on that, that means the average interest rate is 10%. So we're paying 10% and up on credit card debt, and at the same time screaming that we don't have enough money to save for retirement. Well, maybe if we weren't spending $104 billion in credit card debt, we might find some extra money to throw around. I mean, that's a significant amount of money.
Owning a credit card is a great thing, but you have to be disciplined about it. Okay, you can accumulate all sorts of points, and you can there's a lot of advantages. I mean, last week we talked about all the different types of things that credit cards offer and how some of those things are changing, and you want to be aware of what's changing on your credit card. But the overall concept of being able to put all your bills for the month on a card, you get a statement, it tells you what you spent your money on, it makes tracking easy. But you have to be disciplined. You cannot put more money on the card than you have the ability to pay off at the end of the month. Mm-hmm. You just can't do it. And if you start to go down that road, if you feel like you need more furniture for your house and you're putting that on a credit card and you say you're going to pay it off over 3 months, no, don't do that.
Yep. And if you're in a GM now where you have the credit card debt, don't continue to perpetuate the problem. Cut them up, get them paid off, maybe go out and get a personal loan where you just get a fixed rate and do that. Maybe there's some cards out there that you can get 0% on, but don't just pay that minimum payment and continue to pay this insane amount of interest, because it just digs you into a deeper hole. And on top of that, the introduction, last week we talked about a lot of the benefits going away from credit cards too, but the introduction of a lot of these benefits, whether it's, miles or whether it's points for hotels or whatever, I think a lot of times it makes people feel better about, well, yeah, I pay a little interest, but I get a free vacation to, such and such hotel every year. But the reality is your interest is way more than what you're going, those companies are doing very careful calculations on where their break-even point is. And I assure you, you are definitely paying more interest than the points that they're giving you for a hotel stay or an air flight.
Right. And a lot of times people will come in here and they lay out their situation for us, and we try to create steps towards getting them to save more for their retirement, to set up a better retirement for themselves. And one of the steps frequently is, hey, we got to get this debt under control. And sometimes it's student loans and sometimes it's credit card loans. But if you can get that under control and then take that money that you were spending on credit card debt and student loan debt and start investing it for retirement, your picture can change dramatically over a short period of time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just think about if you were basically paying yourself the equivalent of the interest that you're paying to your credit card company. I mean, it's a significant difference in your overall financial picture.
Right.
And one thing, too, and we're going to talk more about this in a couple of weeks because September is Life Insurance Awareness Month, so we'll definitely be talking about that. But one thing we see with credit cards, probably more than anything, it's very difficult for you to go out and get a mortgage without involving your spouse. You can probably get a car loan, but she or he's going to see the car when you pull it into the driveway, right? But credit cards are kind of that hidden debt that you can probably get pretty easily without involving your significant other. be very, very careful with the dangers of that. In one way that we see it is a lot of times when people come in and they start talking about debt, Mrs. Jones might know there's a Visa at Chase Bank, but she might not realize the balance. Mr. Jones might realize they have that Discover card, but he had no idea that they had, reached their credit limit on or whatever. And one place that can have a big effect is when you're figuring out how much life insurance you need. If you're not honest with yourself or your spouse about what debt is out there, especially credit card debt, then you put yourself in a potential jam if one of you were to pass away and you haven't planned appropriately to take care of that debt with life insurance. I've seen a number of people just in the last couple months that I know. It seems like everyone that I went to high school with is dying in the last couple weeks. It's like crazy. It's just a horrible string of events. But, people pass away all the time, many times unexpected. And the last thing you want to do is burden your family with something that they didn't even know existed because you couldn't be honest with the people around you about your spending habits or, things that were going on for you.
Right. And here again, these are all planning type situations. And a lot of times you have this going on in one hand and this going on in the other, and you don't really think about them as one relating to the other. And a lot of times this can become more obvious to you or more clear to you by sitting down and talking it out with somebody. Mm-hmm. and to say, look, this is what I have, and don't be embarrassed by it.
Right.
Okay. Believe me, we see this all the time, and we're not judgmental about it. We understand that not everyone's situation is perfect. But if you want to come in for a consultation and kind of lay these things out, we can kind of show you how one relates to the other, how the credit card debt relates to the retirement, how having enough insurance relates to how much debt that you have. Mm-hmm. And you want to do what's right for yourself, and you want to do what's right for your family so that you can have a better future.
Well, and the reality is too, I think a lot of times people just think that a financial advisor says, okay, this is what you got to put away. But a financial advisor is there to help you figure out how you're going to do it too, Mm-hmm. And maybe not even calling it a consultation. We should probably start calling it like a financial organization meeting, because I think a lot of times people look at the box in the corner of their room where all their documents are and say, oh, I better get those all sorted before I go in, but it doesn't have to be like that. I mean, do we have people come in with spreadsheets and they have it all figured, exactly what they're spending? Absolutely. Do we have people that come in and say, here's my salary and here's how much is left over at the end of the year and I don't know where it all goes? Yes, we have those too. and there's everybody in the middle, so if all of your stuff is in a box, or if all of your stuff is, you don't even know where all your stuff is, that's fine. That's what we do. It's kind of like a doctor. There's some people that go in for the doctor for their annual physical. They know all the medicines they're on. They know what their blood pressure is because they took it yesterday themselves. They're in good physical condition, and they're just looking for the doctor to reassure them there's nothing hiding, right? Mm-hmm. And there's other people that walk in, they haven't been there in 10 years, they haven't taken that great care of themselves, and they went because they started feeling a twinge or a pain somewhere, and they were a little concerned, right? And there's people in between. It's the same thing with finances. Some of you are in phenomenal financial shape and you just need the pat on the back that says, yep, you're doing good. And some of you are like, holy cow, I'm never going to retire. We can help all of those people, So don't feel like you ever have to have all your ducks in a row just to walk through the door. But if you are interested in a second opinion, maybe you need a first opinion, give us a call. 888-98-MONEY is the number. And we'll be back in a minute. Talk about an upcoming concern of a huge bank heist in the United States on the Keeping Your Money Show.
The ups and downs of a roller coaster are fun for some people, but maybe too nerve-wracking for others. The same is true for the ups and downs of the stock market. If your palms sweat when the market fluctuates, it may be time to reevaluate your investment choices. The ride to your financial future shouldn't keep you awake at night. Call the Keeping Your Money Show at 1-888-98-MONEY to get off the roller coaster and onto solid ground.